Her Majesty has held audiences with 14 prime ministers during her 70 years on the throne, with Winston Churchill being the first in the early 1950s. Few perhaps have been as colourful as Boris Johnson, who had to apologise to the monarch for partying the night before Prince Philip's funeral when strict social distancing rules were still in place. Despite this, royal expert Ingrid Seward told the Daily Mirror that the sovereign would have a degree of sympathy for Mr. Johnson and be amused by his customary banter. She said, "The Queen has to be above politics. She is expected to remain politically neutral, and although her meetings with her 14th Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, have mostly been conducted by weekly phone calls, certain political difficulties can still arise. I suspect the Queen feels a certain amount of motherly sympathy for 58-year-old Boris, who is the same age as her youngest son, Prince Edward. She first came across Boris when he was Mayor of London and later Foreign Secretary. When he was appointed her 14th Prime Minister on July 24, 2019, she would have been familiar with his blustery, charismatic charm and aware of his problematic private life and propensity to avoid telling the whole story. The Queen values honesty, integrity, and duty above all else. She dislikes dishonesty, vanity, sloppiness and lack of attention to detail. Unfortunately for Boris, he is not blessed with the characteristics of the sort of man she admires, although no doubt she was charmed by him and amused by his customary banter. Ms. Seward, who is editor-in-chief of Majesty magazine, argued that the Queen would not have been pleased by the gaffe. She added, "The first problem came after his first official meeting with the monarch, when he revealed to his staff that the Queen had been almost sympathetic at his predicament, saying, 'I don't know why anyone would want the job.' She would not have been surprised at his leaking an innocent remark. But she would not have been pleased." Just over a month later, Johnson was accused of misleading the Queen by asking her to suspend Parliament for 5 weeks in an attempt to prevent criticism of the government's Brexit plan. It transpired the monarch, on Johnson's advice, had unwittingly suspended Parliament unlawfully. It was the first of many black marks for Boris, culminating in him having to apologise to the monarch for Partygate, after he had held 2 parties in 10 Downing Street while the nation was in mourning after the death of the Duke of Edinburgh, including one on the eve of the funeral. The Queen probably didn't agree with Boris's way of going about things and disliked his misremembering. But she is a consummate hostess, and when he came to Balmoral for his first official Prime Minister's weekend, invited him to bring Carrie even though they were not yet married. Yet overall, the Queen is a great believer in action rather than words and must long for a straightforward Prime Minister who means what he says and gets on with it.
Stars.